This is Austin with Onewheel Parts, and today we're going to be installing the 357Ts from Tech Rails. These rails are amazing. They definitely changed the game. Each one of your rails is going to come with 2 rails, 2 axle blocks. One of them does look different than the other, as well as a black shim. So let's get started getting these bad boys put on. So we're going to go ahead and fully disassemble our board. We're going to take both rails off, unplug the motor, the foot pad, all of that, to where you just have a battery box and a controller box. Once we've got both of those, we're going to figure out which side our rails need to go on for these axle blocks. The 357Ts have 2 different axle blocks. These are not interchangeable and always need the included shim. One will have a slot milled out for the motor cable. This block will always go on the charge port side, and the other will have a mill through the battery cable, and this one will always go on the power button side. For non-GTR or billet wheel setups, put the shim on the motor cable side, and for GTR or GTP conversions, it will go on the power button side. So we'll go ahead, insert that shim, take the black backer cable shield off of the bottom of the block. The 357T rail system offers 4 different height adjustments: 7/8 lower, 1/4 inch lower, and 1/4 inch raised and 7/8 inch raised for more personalization to your riding. Stick it on there, and we're going to secure it with the screws. There are 2 types of different screws with this. One of them is going to be a little flatter head, and one of them is going to go and look like an XR hub bolt. We're going to use the flatter head ones. These are going to sort of act like an inner hub bolt like on an XR. Go ahead, put some Loctite on there, and slap it on. Make sure these bad boys are tight on both sides. You don't want these coming loose. I like to go ahead and put the cable shield back on the block that has the motor cable. Leave the other one off for now. We're going to put that one on last. Be sure to also take your silver locking screw, screw that down, and tighten it up as well. That way nothing shifts or comes loose. Be sure to really crank down on these locking bolts. We don't want anything coming loose while we're riding. Now we can put a rail on. I start with the power button side. I go ahead and thread both of the screws into either the battery box or the controller box before I tighten them down, just to make sure everything's already lined up, threaded in. There's no risk of cross-threading or stripping any of the screws. Alright, now that we've got that on, we're going to put this assembly onto the motor. So we'll go ahead and slip this on and use the included hub bolts on our correct ride height that we want and screw those down in. Now they don't have to be super tight. I wouldn't torque them down just yet. Now we can plug in our motor cable and put on our retainer clip. To prevent motor plug pullout and arcing and frying of your motor plug, we're putting in the motor plug retainer clip so it doesn't pull out, arc, and short while riding. Once we got those on, we'll slap the other rail. I find it's easiest to put the hub bolts in to secure it, and then line up the other screw holes. Now that we got all that screwed together, we can put that last cable shield on and reassemble the rest of the board. Alrighty, look at that. Thing is ready to rock and roll. This has been Austin with Onewheel Parts. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook.